Hello, hockey fans, and welcome to another episode of Anatomy of a Season, the show where we analyze what led up to a given season, as well as the season itself, month by month, game by game, and if they make the playoffs, series by series. And indeed, this is part 2 of our look at the 2003-04 Calgary Flames, a team that was given the second worst odds in the entire league of winning the Stanley Cup. And if you haven't checked out part 1, do so right now. But for a quick recap, going into the 2003-04 season, the Flames on paper were a team with simply one superstar forward, several character players and grinders, a solid defense, and an excellent goalie. But they didn't seem to have the ingredients of anything resembling a contender. They haven't made the playoffs since 1996. They hadn't won a playoff series since winning the Stanley Cup in 1989. Jarome Iginla was the superstar, the man carrying the load in those lean years, and indeed became a bona fide star in that time, but didn't have the right cast around him, it seemed, in those years. Daryl Sutter, the legendary Sutter family dynasty, took over as head coach during the 2002-03 season and was getting results. For years, it seemed the team tried to use similar elements that the likes of the Devils, Red Wings, Stars, and Avalanche used to be successful, but it didn't work. If they're not going to score too many goals, they need to not let so many in, and Roman Turek on paper seemed capable of it, but not quite enough, and while backup Jamie McLennan did well, it still wasn't enough. The team got off to an average start in October, did somewhat better in November, and after they acquired San Jose Sharks' former backup goaltender Mika Kiprusoff, and nobody expected anything from him, the team exploded in December. They did have a setback in January, did better in February, and exploded again in March. Kiprusoff, or Kipper as he was now affectionately called by fans, set a modern-day NHL record with a 1.69 goals against average. He came in second for Vezina Trophy voting. Iginla had an epic year, tying the league lead in goals with 41, a runner-up for the Hart Trophy as league MVP, and a second-team All-Star. Craig Conroy, whose two-way play complemented Iginla's style as a centerman. And yet you had hard-working Martin Jelena. And of course you had the heart of Sean Donovan. You had Dean McCammon and Paul Reinprant, who lent a big hand despite injuries throughout the year. And they also had Oleg Saprikin, gritty Chris Clark, grinder Stefan Yell, and Chuck Kobasu. But they lose Reinprant and McCammon to injuries. They acquire the notorious tough guy Chris Simon, the pesky Ville Nieminen, and another player driven by heart, Marcus Nilsson. On the defense, a grossly underrated core. Jordan Leopold had a breakout year. Veteran Rhett Warner deserved to be a Flame because he had definitely fire in his soul. Robin Regehr had an amazing year. Denny Gauthier, a longtime Flame, his hard work is paying off. And Andrew Ferentz, who was able to shine at last after being on bad teams for years. And Tony Lindman. But he may not be available for the playoffs, while part-timers Steve Montero and Mike Commodore were quite reliable. And the man himself, the new superstar in Calgary, Mika Kiprusoff, will backstop this club in net. Indeed, through it all, they managed to finish with a 42-37-3 record for 94 points. 6th place in the Western Conference. They made the playoffs for the first time in 8 seasons. They had a winning record for the first time in 9 seasons, and reached 40 wins for the first time in 10. They did it through a hard work ethic, cohesiveness, and teamwork. Iginla proved his leadership skills. They lost key players to injury issues several times throughout the year, and defied the odds simply by just making it here. Despite all Iginla has accomplished in his career, he only has 2 playoff game experience. As a matter of fact, those 2 games were his first 2 in the NHL of his career. But guys like Nieminen, Simon, Yell, Warner, and especially Jelena bring a great deal of playoff experience. And they have the cup rings to show for it. Yeah, this Calgary team has a pretty good penalty kill and a power play. But all in all, it's been a crazy journey to even get here. But that chapter is over, as now it's playoff time. And as the 6th-seeded team in their conference, they face the 3rd-seeded team, and that's their division rivals and the division champions, the Vancouver Canucks. They finished with a record of 43-24-10-5 for 101 points, their second straight 100-point season. After many lean years from the mid to late 90s, they saw a resurgence in the new millennium. GM Brian Burke used a smart strategy to build this club, while the ever-controversial yet successful Mark Crawford, who coached the Avalanche to the Stanley Cup back in 1996, was the boss behind the bench as the coach of this team. Good on all sides of the puck pretty much. However, their power play wasn't overly strong, but their penalty kill was 3rd best in the league. They've had little success in the playoffs, however, only winning 1 series in the prior 3 seasons. But the Flames lost the season series to the Canucks with a record of 2-3-1-0. The last time these two faced in the playoffs was that epic 1994 7-game opening round series where the Flames collapsed after a 3-1 series lead. Let's see who makes this Canucks club up, shall we? First, the team captain and top dog, top player, Marcus Naslund. A tremendous skater with superb puck handling abilities, also had to rack up the points. He had 35 goals, 49 assists for 84 points, and his point total was 4th best in the NHL. He was a first-team All-Star for the 3rd straight season. He led the league in even-strength goals with 30. He was also very impressive, plus 24. He came in 5th for Hart Trophy voting as league MVP, and so the Lady Byng Trophy voting for excellent sportsmanship, and also registered a singular vote for the Selke Trophy as the league's top defensive forward. Naslund indeed was the glue holding this Canucks team together. Centering Naslund often was Brendan Morrison. He could make big plays, always found himself at the right place. He had 22 goals, 38 assists for 60 points, and was a very good plus 16. He too got some votes for Lady Byng. Also known as for Corey had 1999 first-round draft picks, the Sedin twins, Henrik and Daniel. They were evolving in their game. And the Canucks still have one of the most popular and greatest Canucks of all time and 16-year veteran, Trevor Linden. And one of the big reasons for their penalty kill being so successful is another 16-year veteran, Mike Keane. He brings 3 Stanley Cup rings and 5 finals appearances, plus 213 games of playoff experience to the Canucks. They also have tough guys, Brad May and Jarkko Ruutu. They added some more veterans late in the season, 6-time 30-goal scorer, 13-year vet Jeff Sanderson, and Martin Ruchinski. And to top it off, you had Matt Cook and Adam Chubarov. Eddie Todd Bertuzzi is not there, as this was the season that the infamous hit and subsequent career-ending injury on Avalanche forward Steve Moore took place. But now to the defense. First, 9-year seasoned vet and a Ginless teammate on Team Canada in 2002 for their gold medal win, Ed Jovanovski, a towering 6'3" and imposing presence who had offensive capabilities, isn't afraid to make a nice check or a good open ice hit. Pure aggression, but he did have injury issues this season. He missed 26 games, but in the 56 he played, he was still as nasty as ever and still accumulated 23 points. Merrick Malik was the smooth giant, good at leading the attack on the blue line. He used his size to his advantage. While not as hard-hitting as Jovanovski, he could still break up any offensive attack. He could also maintain puck control in his end. He tied the lead in the NHL with a plus 35. He was a very traditionally styled defenseman and was the best in the Canucks core this year as he came in 13th for Norris Trophy voting. Also on this core, Matthias Olin had a great year and came in 14th in Norris Trophy voting. Brent Sobel was their top offensive defenseman, and they had another sizable defenseman in Sammy Salo playing excellently. Another big man, 6'5", Brian Allen is on the core, as is 20-year veteran Marc Bergevin. In net was Dan Cloutier, who is excellent in a hybrid style of stand-up and butterfly goaltending. His record of 33-21-2 was tied for 5th in wins in the league. Had an excellent 2.27 goals against average and a very good .914 save percentage and 5 shutouts. He never really got the recognition he deserved in this era, as he'd been the Canucks starting goaltender for 3 seasons and was key in their re-emergence. Hey, well, this team has all the right tools, so here we go. Game 1, April 7, 2004, GM Place in Vancouver, and indeed the towels are waving. The Flames get good news. Defenseman Tony Lidman has been cleared to play, but Stefan Yell is out of action. Mika Kiprasov only has 3 games of playoff experience, but he seems ready as he gets to start in net. But 2 costly penalties from Ville Niemann early in the game lead to 2 Canucks power play goals, and they lead 2-0 just 5:24 into the game. The Flames fire in on Cloutier and can't get anything past him. It's 2-0 after the first period. Aguila seems to be struggling to make anything happen. The Flames, who are over 3 on the power play, get a chance in the second period. 2-minute advantage, and Chris Simon takes a loose puck and goes in on Cloutier and scores. The Flames are on the board. 28 seconds later, still on the power play. Leopold to Lombardi to Oleg Saprikin. The game is tied 2-2. The Flames have life, but a Henrik Sedin power play goal later on gave the Canucks their lead back. They had another goal to make it 4-2 after 2. Then yet another power play goal in the third period made it 5-2. But 50 seconds later, Conroy back to Leopold to Christophe Leroy. The enforcer getting his first playoff goal, but it's not enough. The Flames lose 5-3. They couldn't contain the Canucks' big guns here. Conroy and Sheldon on the penalty kill were taken a task by the media. Aguila didn't play bad, but he couldn't muster up any momentum. A very rough night, I should say. Easy for me to say, for Mika Kiprasov, allowing 5 goals on 22 shots. You can count on one hand how many times this has happened to him this season. Leopold played well, but the Flames don't look playoff ready. Game 2, the Canucks fans are even louder, but the Flames come out attacking from the opening puck drop. The Canucks see a little thrown off, and it pays off as Simon begins a play that leads to the stick of Leopold, and Jerome McGinley scores just 3:06 in, his first goal of the series, and the Flames strike first. 50 seconds later, Matt Lombardi takes a loose puck and goes on Cloutier, and he scores his first career playoff goal, and just like that, it's 2-0. The Flames then find a way to keep the Canucks contained, and Kipper regroups after a rough first game. He's making a huge save after a huge save and keeps the Flames' lead intact. And the Flames carry that 2-0 lead into the first intermission. The Flames tighten up on the Canucks even further. Stars like Naslund and Morrison can't get anything going. Conroy keeps taking Morrison to task in the face-off circle, while Jelena is keeping up with Naslund. But the Canucks do get one midway through the second period on the power play, but the Flames don't lose focus. Playing a very smart game here, and Kiprusoff has not let anything by him. And it's 2-1 Flames after 2. The Canucks press for the equalizer, but can't get it as time ticks down, and the Flames hang on to Game 2 and tie the series. A 2-1 win, and this is the strategy that got them here. Total cohesiveness. Everyone from top to bottom on the same page. Ginla breaks out. Leopold plays another beauty. Simon is on a roll, and Conroy plays much better here. But Mika Kiprusoff doing what got the Flames here, playing a superb clutch game, making sure that tight lead stayed intact. Flames win their first playoff game since May 15th, 1995. And they had momentum going home. Game 3, April 11, 2004. Their first playoff game to be played in Calgary since April 23rd, 1996. The sea of red has graced the Saddledome, and these fans are beyond excited, anticipating this moment. They give their boys a hero's welcome. The Flames are eager to do battle, and they come on attacking again, only this time Cloutier is ready, turning about the Flames' onslaught in every which way. Flames defense and Kiprusoff are again playing great, but as time winds down, Canucks goalie Cloutier goes down with an ankle injury. His series is done. The Flames need to capitalize, but Johan Hedberg does have a decent amount of playoff experience. It's still scoreless after 1. At 1:04 into the second period, Iggy to Matty, and Simon says it's a goal. The sea of red erupts like a big wave, and the Flames lead 1-0. But 1:06 later on a power play, Naslund ties it. Hedberg is stopping the Flames every which way, while Kipper and the Flames keep the Canucks from getting the lead, however, and it's 1-1 after 2. Just a minute and a half into the third period, the Canucks take a 2-1 lead. Their defense tightened up, and Hedberg is playing great net, and the Flames drop Game 3. They're losing the game and now trailing the series 2-1. The Flames were 0 for 6 in the power play, and the Canucks' superb penalty kill had their number. Calgary didn't play overly bad here, just the Canucks were a lot more focused. Chris Simon has been a huge X factor for them so far, but now they trail the series at this point, and the Flames can't panic and need to regroup. Game 4, still in Calgary. Bad news going in. Tony Libman is hurt, and Mike Commodore will dress for this game. But good news that Stefan Yell is in, but Chris Simon is out. The Flames stay focused and again come out on the attack, but Hedberg is stopping again every which way. The Flames' defensive system in this game seems to be working. The Canucks can't get to Kiprusoff very much, and when they do, he stops them. It's scoreless after 1. The Flames' penalty kill core is out there to begin the second period. And Chris Clark clears the puck out to Stefan Yell, goes to the goal, he scores! The Saddledome erupts in joy as the Flames strike first a huge shorthanded goal. The Flames' defensive scheme has the Canucks a little frustrated, and Kiprusoff is a wall. On our power play, Kipper is in on the play, leaving the puck for Gauthier, setting in Chris Clark, and he scores! His first playoff goal, a power play marker. It's 2-0 Calgary. And 27 seconds later, Sean Donovan scores. Assisted by Jalna and Regier, the Dome is the loudest it has ever been. 3-0 Flames, and it stays that way after 2. In the third period, Calgary plays a very smart game, and the Canucks failed to garner any momentum. Again, adds an empty netter. You think he scored an OT winner the way the Flames fans cheered this? They win 4-0. What a near-perfect game for Calgary. Chris Clark coming up huge both on the power play and the penalty kill with a goal and a helper each. Yell returns with a vengeance with that shorthander. He, along with Conroy, made it a long night for Morrison and Naslund, as they were constantly harassed by the Flames defense, who also played a great game, especially Rick Garrett, Leopold, and Gauthier. Mika Kiprusoff, 20 save shutout, his first career playoff, 0. And indeed, more importantly, the series is tied 2-2. Game 5 back in Vancouver, the Canucks mean business. They are keeping the Flames from making any onslaught, and they're now all out attacking Kipper, but The goaltender is on his game, and after a tense first period, it's scoreless. Early in the second period, the Flames are on the power play. Again, back to Commodore, up to Conroy! His first goal of the series, and the Flames strike first. Kiprusoff is playing sensational in net, but the Canucks get a power play goal late in the frame to tie it. It's 1-1 after 2. 5:37 into the third period, however, Iggy scores, set up by Ferentz and Conroy. It's 2-1 Flames, and Kiprusoff zeroes in on any Canucks skater who's within sight and has the puck ready to make that given save. The clock winds down, and the Calgary Flames take Game 5 and take the series lead 3-2. What a game all around. Iginla delivering like Iginla does. Conroy everywhere on the ice. But the story is Mika Kiprusoff. 32 saves and fearless in net, and surviving among the hostile loud Canucks fans. The last few games, the defense has frustrated Naslund and Morrison. The likes of Jana, Yellen, and Clark are in large part to thank too. Commodore played really well here, as did Ferentz and Warner. But the biggest story of this is the Flames head home with a 3-2 series lead and are 1 win away from pulling off the upset and winning their first playoff series in 15 years. Game 6. The Saddle Dome is erupting before the puck even drops, but they are silenced by the second period. It's a disaster. A Jeff Sanderson goal midway through the second period made it 4-0 Canucks. Kiprusoff is having a terrible night. Iginla is being contained and getting nothing going. The Sedin twins are killing the Flames and angering the Sea of Red. However, 16 seconds after Sanderson's goal, Lake Saprikin is set up by Regeer and Conroy, breaking Ald's shutout bid. And just over 2 minutes later, Commodore sends Neiman, and he scores! His first goal of the playoffs. The Saddle is waking up. The Flames trail 4-2 after 2. At just 1:14 into the third period, Martin Chalana scores his first goal of the series, and the Saddle is alive and well. The Flames only trail by a goal. Clark and Regeer in on this helper. Sutter kept his faith in Kipper, and it's paying off. He's making some big saves, but time is of the essence here. But then Nilsson to Regeer to Chris Clark. The Saddle-Dome's foundation is quaking for a tie game. What a comeback. Time winds down, and for the first time in this series, we're going to overtime. Overtime is intense. The Flames fans are on edge of their seats. One goal is all it takes to end it all in a win. But after 20 minutes, still no winner. Then on to the second overtime. The Flames faithful are rallying behind their boys. The Canucks defense is containing Calgary, and Kiprusoff is playing great in net after his rough start in this game. The second overtime ends, still no winner. Off to triple overtime we go, and 2:28 in, Naslund and Morrison, after being restricted lately, break out at the right time. The latter scores the OT winner. The Canucks are still alive. They force a Game 7 back home, and this is a great comeback by the Flames. Very thrilling game indeed overall. But alas, Regeer played great with 3 assists. Clark had a goal in a help reach. Kiprusoff got himself together eventually, but the fact is they're now headed back to Vancouver for a 7th and deciding winner-take-all Game 7. Iginla was almost non-existent here, and it's time for the leader to step up. He was actually being called out by the media after this one. Well, here we go. Game 7. GM Place. The sea of waiting towels is ever present. The Flames have lost Denny Gauthier. Steve Montador dresses up for this game. The Flames are now down 2 defensemen. In the first period, both teams equally focused, equally disciplined. Both Kiprusoff and Ald are playing very well in net. It's very evenly matched, and we have yet another scoreless first period in this series. It's much of the same in the second, but Lombardi and Conroy started, and Iggy Park said the Flames strike 1-0, and their defense at Kiprusoff keep the lead. It's 1-0 after 2. The Flames are 20 minutes away from a playoff series win. It's looking good. The Flames are playing very smart, but the Canucks tied. However, at the midway point of the third, the Flames on the power play. Craig to Jordan to Iggy. Call him out and he will answer. His second goal of the game. 2-1 Flames. Can they hang on? Kiprusoff is making huge saves. The clock counts down. 1 minute to play. Fans back in Calgary are jumping all over the place, ready to celebrate. 30 seconds. The Canucks are wrestling with an extra attacker. 10 seconds. Matt Cook scores. No! With 6 seconds left, the Canucks tie it? This can't be happening! We're up to overtime. Well, once the puck drops in 12 seconds, the Flames will go on a power play, as Andrew Francis' penalty late in the game will be expired, and Jovanovski will still be in the box. The Gillar are out there. They're looking for an opening on the extra man advantage, and there's a loose puck, a scramble near. Then the Cook sent in. Martin scores the OT winner, 125 in. The Calgary Flames win their first playoff series in 15 years. A thrilling Game 7 win. Oh, just right up here, the Canucks had momentum on their side. Marty steps up and is the hero of the day. Fans watching back in Calgary erupt in joy. An upset win eliminating the favored Canucks. What a moment. Jarome Iginla wins his first playoff series. He was singled out by the media and got their Game 6 and responded emphatically. 2 goals, an assist on Gillen's OT winner, no less, for 3 points. Whew, the Flames climb another hill, like many already this year. They didn't simply just want to be here, they wanted to win. Jarome Iginla was a leader in scoring for the Flames in this series with 5 goals, 3 assists for 8 points. But speaking of leading, he was a true captain out there, in every sense of the word. No media criticism could outdo how much he was hard on himself after Game 6, and he delivered in the clutch. But overall, this is his first full playoff series. It was a great one. He was excellent. Craig Conroy also delivered huge, second in scoring with a goal and 5 assists for 6 points, and a great +4. But he was on all ends of the ice and didn't rest until the series was over. He was a huge reason for this win. Tied for third in scoring, it was 4 ways, 4 points each. Chris Clark came up big in a few games. Rookie Matthew Lombardi had a really good series, and defensemen Jordan Leopold and Robin Regier had 4 points each to boot. Martin Gillen not only scores the series winner, but his playoff experience showed with his hustle in every game. Chris Simon was really good in the 3 games he played. Stefan like Jelena was comfortable in this type of world. Sean Donovan, however, faced some criticism for his play in this series. Bill Neiman played well for the most part. Marcus Nilsson had his struggles, but played okay. Oleg Suprikin was pretty sharp. Christoph Olua was, well, decent in some games. And in the series, the Flames averaged 3 goals a game on the dot. They never averaged that high in any given month in the regular season. Iginla led the series with a +5, once again showing his overall presence. And hey, surprise, surprise, the 2 best defensemen for the Flames this year were the leading defensive scorers in the series. Robin Regier and Jordan Leopold each had 4 assists for 4 points. Tony Lidman actually looked really good before getting hurt. But Mike Commodore deserves a lot of credit for the way he stepped in the last 4 games of the series and provided a significant presence. Danny Gauthier also looked good in the 6 games he played, but his future was uncertain, while Montador played very well in Game 7. Brett Warner struggled a little bit, but Andrew Ferentz was solid. Either way, this defense still managed to keep it together through the setbacks. And Mika Kibrasov played all 7 games and every minute of action in this series. Just when it looked like he might buckle, he stuck it out. He played incredible most of the series, with Game 1 and the first part of Game 6 being his only really bad performances. And again, he kept his focus. His first full playoff series of his career. A 4-3 record, an excellent 2.08 goals against average, and a fantastic .922 save percentage, and a shutout. He showed he wasn't just a regular season guy. He showed he can face the pressure head on. And yes, indeed, the Canucks were very difficult to get through, but it's not going to get any easier. In the Western Conference semifinals, they will go toe-to-toe with the Detroit Red Wings, whose record of 48-21-11-2 for 109 points was not only the best record in the West, it's also the best record in the NHL. After the retirement of the all-time great coach Scotty Bowman in 2002, Dave Lewis, who had been an assistant coach in Detroit for 14 seasons, took over at last. A team chock full of playoff experience. Since 1996-97, they have won 3 Stanley Cups, and their most recent being just in 2002. Almost perfect on any side of the ice, in any position or role, with an excellent power play and the league's top penalty kill. They almost look unstoppable on paper, but they had a little more difficulty than they anticipated with the Nashville Predators in the opening round, but still beat them in 6 games. The Flames did lose the season series, if you recall, with a record of 1-3-0-0, but the Flames did dominate them in the 1 win in their final meeting of the season. And who indeed makes up this Detroit Red Wings club? Well, this year saw the emergence of a new star, third-year centerman Pavel Datsyuk, a.k.a. Magic Man. The quintessential two-way forward with a vicious backhand shot, amazing puck control and stick handling skills, and able to fool defenders. A smart cerebral player who can read the entire ice. 30 goals, 38 assists for 68 points in 75 games, tying the team lead in scoring. He was third in the league for shooting percentage and came in 20th for Hart Trophy voting and tied for 20th in Lady Byng Trophy voting. Great career ahead for this youngster. Tied for the team lead in scoring with him was the great Brett Hull. At 39 years old, the seasoned veteran still had a presence about him. Not only did he rack up 25 goals and 43 assists for 68 points, but he could still launch that legendary one-timer he was known for, and could still find ways to get open for a pass. He also got votes for the Lady Byng Trophy for the 11th time in his career, and has also won the award in the past. Now, he has 2 Stanley Cup rings, 3 overall appearances, and totaling 196 playoff games, he was ready for action. But what also made Detroit so great in this era was their grinders, especially this year. One of their best players overall was Chris Draper, winner of the Selke Trophy as league's top defensive forward this year. A master in the faceoff circle, he's the main reason why Detroit's penalty kill was tops in the league. He also gave his team an edge on a power play. Part of the Wings' infamous grind line, he was great at working the boards as well, indeed, against opposing skaters. He also had his best offensive season of his career at this point, 24 goals, 16 assists for 40 points. It was tied for second in the league with shorthanded goals at 5, was a plus 22, and has been on the Red Wings now for 11 seasons, collected 3 Stanley Cup rings. Also on his club along with Draper in his line, you had Kirk Maltby, who came in 7th in Selke voting. Despite injury issues, Darren McCarty is healthy for this round. Also in his club, future Hall of Famer Brendan Shanahan, who's been part of these Wings in their glory years, had 53 points to go with his 117 penalty minutes. Also another youngster, 23-year-old Swedish import Henrik Zetterberg is coming a long way as a difference maker. They also had fan favorite Thomas Holmstrom, the wizard of passing Ray Whitney, late season acquisition 5-time 20-goal scorer Robert Lang, also a NHL veteran of 1,235 games, 10-time 20-goal scorer Steve Thomas. But last and most certainly not least, the captain himself, 21-year veteran, future Hall of Famer, and one of the all-time greats, Steve Yzerman. 187 games of playoff hockey and leading the Wings to 3 cups. Oh, you better believe he's ready. But now to the defense, and leading the way, one of the best to ever do it in NHL history, the great Nicholas Lidstrom. Uncanny attention to detail, a picture-perfect passer, can break up opposing offensive momentum, tremendous leader, and a great durability. Has only missed 18 games in 13 seasons. His streak of 3 straight Norris trophies came to an end this season, but he still got many votes and came in 6th. He still racked up good offensive numbers with 38 points and was a good plus 19. And he was just short of being a Lady Byng finalist, coming in 4th in voting. He too has been a part of the Wings' glory years and has been a part of this team now for 13 seasons. Also on his defense, 20-year veteran, future Hall of Famer, the great Chris Chelios. 4 cup appearances, 2 rings, 230 games of playoff experience. Also 15-year veteran Matthew Schneider, 7th in Norris voting. Again, all these games of playoff experience, a cup ring with the Habs in 93. And then you had 13-year veteran Darian Hatcher, 2 finals appearances. His name on the cup is team captain of the Dallas Stars in 1999, 106 playoff games. And topping them off, longtime wing and very underrated Matthew Dandino and Czech import Yuri Fisher. And backstopping them in goal was veteran all-star, the man they call Cujo, Curtis Joseph. He wasn't their number 1 goaltender this year, as the Red Wings did have a bit of a goaltending controversy, especially off the ice. As Manny Legacy was their main man, but after struggling on road losses against the Predators in the opening round, Lewis goes with Joseph, who played marvelously in the clinching 2 wins. And he does have 124 games playoff experience, but unlike many of his teammates, has yet to taste Stanley Cup glory. This Red Wings team seems far too experienced with postseason hockey for the Flames to get going against. Either way, here we go. First playoff meeting between these 2 clubs. Game 1 at the Joe in Detroit, as the fans in Hockeytown are ready to see their boys reclaim their crown. Game 1, the Red Wings are ready and taking the Flames to school, it seems, bombarding Kiprasov, but the goalie stands firm and is making every save he can. The Flames are having trouble, however, getting to Cujo, but when they do, the veteran is making the saves. It's scoreless after 1. In the second period, the Flames start working the Wings zone a little better, but still can't put too much pressure on Cujo. And the Wings' Robert Lang solves Kipper, and the Flames are down 1-0. Late in the period, still trying their damnedest, Matt Lombardi gets it put to Robin Reguer, who slaps it home. The game is tied 1-1 after 2. In the third period, the Wings tighten up again, and Kipper is frustrating their shooters left and right. As time winds down, we are going to overtime. Just 2:39 in, Jalana to Marcus Nilsson. A timely first playoff goal. The Flames take all the important first game. Persistence paid off in this one. The Wings fans as the Joe are shocked, and Nilsson is the hero. But also smart on Sutter's part to put Jalana out there early for overtime. Mika Kiprasov is again a show stealer, 28 saves in this huge road win. Game 2, and the Wings are not playing around anymore. The first period sees their grinders out there every time with Iginla as well as Conroy. Draper and Maltby aren't letting up on them. And they get more vicious with Kipper firing in on him as many times as they can, but he's still holding strong. The Wings, however, have extra determination, it seems. It's scoreless after 1. The Flames are having trouble getting to Cujo again in this game. And the Wings strike first in the second period, and then suddenly 2 goals by Stevie Y, just 2:13 apart, puts them down 3-0. However, 1:31 later, Sean Donovan gets a goal, breaking the shutout, helped by Nelson. Lead is cut to 3-1 after 2. The Flames still can't get any momentum, however. The Wings kill them with a pair of power play goals late in the third. Hull and Lidstrom take them apart on that unit. Jalna scores with 1:10 to go, but it's nowhere near enough. The Red Wings take it 5-2, tying the series at 1. There was a large skirmish at the end of the game that saw a very frustrated Flames team getting quite nasty, and the media feels the Flames' luck has started to run out. And they were even lucky to get by the Wings in the first game. And in this game, the Flames' inexperience was exposed, as was Mike Commodore. And Iginla, they say, will be owned by the Red Wings grind line. Game 3, we ship to Calgary. Despite the media's thoughts, the Sea of Red doesn't think so. In the Saddle Dome, they believe in their boys. And the Flames believe in themselves, more importantly. The Wings stick to their strategy, easy for me to say. But the Flames' defense is much more focused in this game, and Kiprasov is still doing what he does. But he still needs to avoid what happened in the prior game. However, the Flames are getting to Cujo a bit more here, as the Wings make a few mistakes, but they still can't get past the goalie, and hey, what do you know, it's scoreless after 1. However, the Wings silence the Saddle Dome crowd, scoring just over a minute into the second. But just 2:21 later, with their own grinders out there, Clark over to Jelena, who sets some Stefaniel, and the game is tied at 1. But then 2:08 later, power play, Matty to Marty, up to Iggy. Again, with 6th goal of these playoffs, again responding to the callouts, 2-1 Flames. But just past the midway point of the period, the Wings tie it. 40 seconds later, Sean Donovan, he scores, set up by Nelson and Neiman, and it's 3-2 Calgary. And the Flames again play smartly, but Kipper is still facing pressure, but it remains 3-2 after 2. The Wings are going out on the attack, but Kipper is there. And they also putting the most pressure they can on Cujo, more than they have this entire series so far. And time winds down, and Kipper keeps them in there. They hold on for a 3-2 win, taking a 2-1 series lead over the best team in the league. This is just crazy. The Flames didn't let their frustration from Game 2 boil over. They regrouped and are finding ways to find the little holes in the Red Wings strategy as much as they can, and it's paying off. Kipper, 27 saves. Another huge game. Martin Jelena, 2 helpers. He's having a great series. Iginla finally breaks out. All around great game for the Flames up and down the lines. They are back on track. Game 4, it's a fever pitch of excitement at the Dome as the Flames look to take complete control of this series. The electricity in the Dome, however, is silenced just 26 seconds into the game as Maltby gets the Wings on the board. The Flames are again putting more pressure on Cujo, but he's making some huge saves, while Kipper avoids the Wings of building on their lead. But it's still 1-0 Red Wings after 1. But then the Wings take a 2-0 lead just 3 minutes into the second period, but just 2:45 later, Iginla to Conroy to Jalana. And the fans wake up, the lead is cut to 2-1. Then just 18 seconds later, Niemanen scores, assisted by Donovan and Nelson. The game is tied 2-2, as the Sea of Red is now a tidal wave. But the Wings regroup. The Flames keep trying for that go-ahead goal, but it remains 2-2 after 2, both goalies making enormous saves. But indeed, both netminders look great nearly approaching the third period as well, but at the midway point of the frame, the Wings score to make it 3-2. The Flames press, but Cujo is a savage in net, showing that ferocity. Time is winding down. They press even more for the equalizer. But the Wings out an empty netter with 24 seconds left. They win 4-2 to tie the series at 2. The Flames actually didn't necessarily play all that bad. Detroit just played better. Joseph was facing more shots, so he was a lot more focused. The Wings just simply had the Flames number on this night, but despite how good Calgary has played in this series, some are still saying their luck is going to run out. You gotta be kidding me. Game 5, we are back in Detroit, and Dave Lowry dresses for this game for the Flames. And once again, the Wings are on an all-out attack on Kiprusoff, while Cujo is making big saves on his own end, but has some breathing room. And it's another scoreless first period. In the second period, it's much of the same, and Kiprusoff cannot be rattled on this night, however. And he's saying, later, Lidstrom, bye-bye, Stevie Y, hell no, Hull, sayonara, Shanny. But then late in the period, Iggy breaks out, Conroy, and Craig Conroy scores his first goal of the series. The Flames strike first and lead 1-0 after 2. The Wings are doing everything they can to get to Kiprusoff, but he's a human highlight reel on this night, as the Flames are trying to build their lead. But the Flames are doing everything they can to try to add more pressure and kill the clock, but the Wings pull Joseph and add the extra attacker. It's looking quite pressureful, but 1 minute remaining, Kiprusoff not taking his eye off the puck. He stops every shot, and the Calgary Flames hold on to take game number 5. Take a 3-2 series lead. What an epic performance and shutout from Mika Kiprusoff. 31 saves. He's on a whole other level in this game than usual, and the Ginla and Conroy teaming up for the only goal, the game winner. This is truly remarkable. So Flames now have the NHL Kingpins on the verge of elimination, heading back home. Game 6. The Sea of Red in Calgary is more excited than ever. Both teams are using an all-out attack strategy, but the Flames are stymied by Cujo. And Kiprusoff is also putting the Wings in their place. He still can't be beaten. Some great hockey on display, and oh, hey, another scoreless first period. Both teams continue to hustle and show great spark. Flames fans cheer every time they even get close, and cheer as Kipper makes save after save. It's a goaltending clinic, and it's still scoreless after 2. The third period, the Saddle Dome is on edge, knowing that just one goal gives them all the momentum, and they know their Flames team can keep it. But it does not happen. Cujo is standing on his head, but the Wings shooters are frustrated by Kipper. The clock winds down, and it's scoreless after regulation. We are going to overtime. And overtime shows the fire and competitive spirit of both clubs. But Kiprusoff is playing his heart out. And to be fair, so is Curtis Joseph. Time is winding down. Ginla from the corner launches a shot, but it's stopped by Cujo. Comes to Conroy, slides over to Martin, who scores the overtime winner. The Calgary Flames have done it. They've beaten the Detroit Red Wings in 6 games, winning 1-0. Mika Kiprusoff his second straight shutout. And wow, Martin Jelena, again the hero, another OT series winner. And the Calgary Flames are off to the Western Conference Final. Whew. Fans celebrated by walking what became known as the Red Mile. After every Flames home win in these playoffs, the celebration was truly something to behold. Red fever had swept over the city of Calgary. The Flames worked as a tight-knit unit to make it all happen, never giving up and finding ways to just make any small flaw in the Wing strategy work to their advantage. It's hard to believe that they beat a team this heavy in playoff experience in 6 games. Well, Martin Jelena was nothing short of amazing in this series. Not only is he the first player to score 2 consecutive series-clinching overtime goals, but he was superb through and through, playing with heart, embodying the spirit of this whole team, and showing that his playoff experience really has come in handy. He led the team in scoring in the series with 3 goals, 3 assists for 6 points, and was a really good +3. Marcus Nilsson really came to life in this series as well. He had a goal and 3 helpers for 4 points, but he too played with a passion and determination. Tying Nilsson for second was Iggy himself, Jerome Ginla. The series didn't start out too well for the superstar captain, but ultimately he led the way again and assisted on both game winners from 5 and 6. He shows the winning attitude yet again. Conroy also had trouble finding his footing early on, but got there at the right time and gave guys like Stevie Y and the Magic Man quite a bit to handle. Niemanen played well, Saprikin did okay, Stefan Yell had a rough couple games, but also came up big containing Wings forwards in big plays when it counted, while Matthew Lombardi came up big in a couple games with some fire, as Oliwan Kobasu did just fine. Sean Donovan played much better here than he did in the first round, while Chris Clark was a substantial help in certain situations. In the series, however, the Flames averaged 1.8 goals per game. Wow, but hey, it was enough. Robin Regeer was literally the only Flames defenseman to register a single point in this series, scoring a goal. But it's no surprise he and Jordan Leopold were tied for a +3, leading the team in the series, tied with Martin Jelena. These two have been the best Flames defenders all year, and they showed just why, again, providing tremendous presence. Rhett Warrener played well, but he missed 2 games. Andrew Ference played a decent outing. Steve Montador actually played quite well to boot, while Mike Commodore struggled a little bit, but played better towards the end of the series. And wow, what more can you say about this man? Mika Kiprasov! Definitely putting on a spectacle of playoff hockey goaltending. Doing what he has done all season and holding on to those tight leads and tight games, keeping the Flames in them, and his 2 consecutive shutouts at games 5 and 6, and standard clutch goaltending in the playoffs, that's what that's made of. He played every minute of this series with a 4-2 record, a huge 1.73 goals against average against the Red Wings team of this caliber. Remarkable. And oh yeah, his .941 save percentage didn't hurt. And oh yeah, of course, those 2 big shutouts. Well, you can make an argument for Jelena. Kipper was the MVP of this series without question. He was the one who ultimately shut down this powerhouse Red Wings team. But again, things are not about to get any easier for him or his teammates. And now they take on the 2nd-seeded team in the West, the San Jose Sharks, the former team of Mika Kiprasov, as well as coach Daryl Sutter, who was fired the prior season. After missing the playoffs last year, Coach Ron Wilson led them to a 43-21-12-6 record for 104 points, winning the Pacific Division for the 2nd time in 3 seasons, and their best regular season in their 13-year history. They put the Blues down in 5 in the opening round, held off the Avalanche's attempt at a comeback, and beat them in 6 games. The Sharks had a potent offense. They only had given up 183 goals, that's 5th least in the league. Their power play was decent. Their penalty kill was really good. Let's take a look at what makes up this Sharks team, who's attempting to win the Stanley Cup. Hell, even make the Stanley Cup for the first time. Leading the way is Patrick Marleau, the 1997 first-round draft pick of the Sharks. He's a speedy skater able to elude defenders and a swift scoring ability. He had 28 goals, 29 assists for 57 points, which led the Sharks. He got some votes for the Hart Trophy, coming in 21st, was also 18th in Lady Byng Trophy voting. He was the guy they were building the team around, and it was working tremendously. Then he had Swedish import Nils Ekman. He was a steal of a deal for the Sharks. In his first season with the club, not only did he rack up 22 goals, 33 assists for 55 points in all 82 games, but he was tied for 5th in the NHL with a plus-minus of plus 30. His 4 shorthanded goals were tied for 4th in the league as he was key in the Sharks' penalty kill. He played with a great deal of heart and determination and was an excellent defensive forward. Garnered votes for the Selke Trophy, coming in 11th, and got a vote for the Lady Byng Trophy as well. Alan McCauley had the best season of his career as he proved pivotal to the Sharks' penalty kill as well. He played all 82 games, had 20 goals, 27 assists for 47 points, and was an excellent plus 23. He was a beast in the face-off circle. He was a hard-working checker, always looking to gain control of the puck for his team. His defensive abilities were so off the charts this season, he was a finalist for the Selke Trophy, coming in 3rd. He was 5'11", in the neighborhood of 200 pounds, built strong, was an excellent leader. Speaking of excellent leaders, Vincent Damphousse, an NHL veteran of nearly 1,400 games, brings the Stanley Cup ring as a key member of the 93 Habs, has 134 games of playoff experience. Mike Ricci, also a great leader in his own right, has 104 games of playoff experience, and won the Stanley Cup with the Avalanche in 1996. A new star emerged in Jonathan Cheechoo, who scored 28 goals and was among the league leaders in game winners. Veteran Todd Harvey lends some substance, as does Wayne Primo. Alexander Korolik plays with heart. Also on this core, veteran big man Scott Thornton, Nico Dimitrikos, and Curtis Brown. They are, however, missing Marco Sturm, who is out the rest of the season due to injury. Leading the defense is Monster Mike Ratchey. And no, he didn't get that nickname because he's dirty. He got that nickname due to his imposing 6'5" presence. It was actually quite a clean-hitting defenseman. He was over 230 pounds to boot. He could hit you, but he could also use his size to fight for the puck in his own zone. He also registered a vote for the Norris Trophy as the league's top defenseman and finished a plus 18. He has spent his entire 11-year career with the San Jose Sharks. He's a very respected leader. Also on this blue line core, a man of significant sizable power himself, Brad Stewart. He also had the hard-working and determined Kyle McLaren, talented Scott Hannon, veteran tough man Jason Marshall, and Rob Davison. Backstopping them in net is their starting goalie Evgeny Nabokov, who had lightning-quick reflexes, which included arguably the best glove hand in the league at this time. He also wasn't afraid to challenge shooters. He had a great year, had 31 wins, was tied for 8th in the league in wins, had an excellent 2.20 goals against average, a .921 save percentage, which was 7th best in the league, an incredible 9 shutouts, which was tied for 3rd best. He was 6th in Vezina Trophy voting as the league's top goaltender, and 23rd in Hart Trophy voting as league MVP. This team is full of depth, top to bottom. Well, here we go. Game 1, the Shark Tank in San Jose is filled to the brim, and the crowd is excited. Chris Simon returns to the lineup after missing the last 10 games. Kipper faces pressure early on, but is rock solid in net again. And midway through the first period, the Flames role players strike, as it's Chucky to Ole to Christoph. Quite a collection of names, Ole with the goal. And the Flames are staying focused. Kiprasov is making some beautiful saves, and as time winds down the period, Donovan sets it up, and we got Craig Conroy scoring a goal. We got Craig Conroy putting the Flames on a roll. Conroy. Yes, it's 2-0 Calgary after the first period. The Sharks scored just over a minute into the second period, but again, the team held firm after that. Kipper is still making good saves. Nabokov is on the other side making saves of his own. Time winds down to seconds, but the Sharks tie it. Just another minute to play in the frame. 2-2 after 2. Third period, it's highly competitive action, and they both get opportunities to break the tie, but it isn't until the midway point of the period when that great big truckin' Conroy scores his second goal of the game. Conroy. Okay, sorry, I'll stop. Kiprasov is doing what he does best, trying to hold that tight lead, but with 3:21 left in regulation, the Sharks manage to tie it. We are headed to overtime. The game stays highly competitive. Kipper shakes off his frustration and shines, while Nabokov and the Sharks' defense is pretty sharp as well. Time is winding down in the extra frame with 1:17 left. With the puck in the neutral zone, Donovan got it up to Iginla as the Sharks made a terrible shift change. He gives it to Steve Montador on a nice crisp pass near the point, and Montador goes up and snaps it in! Steve Montador! The unlikely hero. His first Stanley Cup playoff goal and a huge goal. What a game, and what a big win to kick this series off. Great game for Craig Conroy as well as Sean Donovan. And again, Mika Kiprasov, what more can you say? 49 saves! Oh, what a way to get started. Game 2, we're still at the Shark Tank, and just 20 seconds in, Marcus Nilsson strikes. And the Loud Sharks faithful are silenced, goal assisted by Donovan and Montador, and the Flames lead 1-0. Flames defense is ridiculously good in this game, breaking up Sharks rushes, but Kipper makes a save when he is called to do so. Around the midway point of the period, Nilsson to Neiman into Sean Donovan, 2-0 Flames. And Calgary is all over Marlowe and the rest of the big stars on this team. Stefan Yell is frustrating Sharks forwards as well. The Flames take the 2-0 lead in the first intermission. McCauley gets the Sharks on the board 5.5 minutes into the second, but the Flames get right back to their strategy, and Regehr and Ferentz are playing a beauty here. The Flames manage to maintain a 2-1 lead after 2 periods. They continue to use their smart strategy. In the third period, as time ticks away with 7:25 left, Phil Niemanen scores a huge solo effort, put the Flames up 3-1. Then 44 seconds later, Ugi scores a goal assisted by Jean Yell. 4-1 Flames, and that's how it ends. What a great collective game from Calgary. They take both road games and now lead the series 2-0 going home. Oh man, if anybody doubts the Flames, this should have shut them up. Great games from Neiman and Nilsson and Donovan with a goal and a helper each. Iginla plays superbly. And Kiprasov doesn't face his usual onslaught as the Flames grinders and defense handcuff Marlowe as Yell played very well. Regehr was great. So was, again, Conroy. What more can you say about him? And Ferentz played his best game of these playoffs so far. This is truly remarkable. Game 3. The Sea of Red back in full force, and they have sweep on their minds. The Flames put out an all-out attack on Nabokov, but the goaltender is on his game tonight and stopping everything, while the defensive strategy for the Flames that they used in the last game seems to be working once again. But it's scoreless after 1. However, the Sharks got on the board first in the second, and the Flames just seemed to can't get anything past Nabokov, who's standing on his head and playing him magnificently. The Sharks actually carry 1-0 lead after 2 periods. The Flames are pressing for the equalizer, but they just can't get it. And time is of the essence, and with 1:50 to play, the Sharks score again. The Flames are becoming increasingly frustrated, and the Sharks did add an insult to injury with an empty netter to make it 3-0, and Iggy loses it and actually gets a game misconduct in the final seconds, while Chris Simon picks a fight with Mike Ratchey. Well, the Flames lose 3-0. Their actions at the end of the game are heavily criticized, but all in all, they just ran into a hot goaltender. And Kipper maybe got a little too comfortable, but he didn't play terribly. But either way, the Flames still led the series 2-1. Game 4, the South Lone faithful still believes their heroes can take command of this series tonight. But again, Nabokov is a machine in net. The Flames are still playing well defensively. A recurring theme in these playoffs were scoreless after 1. but the Sharks strike 2:40 into the second period. But then 5:15 later, the top playoff line, Craigie to Marty to Iggy. The Saddle Dome erupts. The game is tied 1-1. 39 seconds later, Chichu fools Kipper. Then a minute and a half after that, Dafu scores a power play goal to sink the Sea of Red into silence. The Sharks lead 3-1 and then add another late in the period. They led 4-1 after 2, and for the first time in these playoffs, Mika Kiprasov is pulled from the game. He allowed 4 goals on 16 shots. Ouch. Tension is boiling over, and the Flames are playing like a very frustrated bunch. Time is winding down. And while Chris Simon scores a power play marker with 40 seconds left to cut the lead in half, tensions again begin to lead to a small skirmish, which Simon, of course, is involved in, with 8 seconds to play. The Flames lose 4-2. They drop both home games. The series is now tied. Calgary has had their fire of the last 2 road wins extinguished just like that, and Marlowe finally broke free in this game. And the naysayers return, pointing out the Flames' frustration costing them, and how Kiprasov's weaknesses have finally been exposed. And now with the series heading back to San Jose and the Sharks overcoming a 2-0 series deficit on the road, the Flames' luck is, wait for it, about to run out. Game 5, a very jubilant crowd at the Shark Tank is ready to see their team hop in the driver's seat for the rest of the way. And Sutter still has faith in Kipper and starts him for this one. In the first period, the Flames are killing a penalty, but an error in play sees the puck come loose, and Iginla goes in and goal! He scores! A short-handed goal, what a play! And then just 2:02 later, Niemanen to Nilsson! He scores 2-0, and the Flames already sucked the energy out of the Shark Tank. Kipper is making some tremendous saves, but the Flames defense and checkers have the Sharks' number once again. As Conroy and Yell are often in the face of veterans such as Vincent Domfus, it remains 2-0 after 1. The Flames on the Sharks forwards and their defense can't get many rushes going. And at the 12:47 mark of the second period, Conroy scores another goal. He got held up by Jelena and Leopold. 3-0 Flames. Their defense and Kipper doing, and again, Kipper doing what he's got to do. The defense is playing great. It's working to their advantage. It stays 3-0 after 2. In the third, the Flames again play very smartly, just protecting their lead rather than trying to run out the score. And they succeed! The Calgary Flames take their 3rd road game of this series. Oh my goodness, have a 3-2 series lead. They're 1 win away. Just 1 win from making it to the dance. A monster group effort. Conroy, Iginla, Jelena, that line stays rolling. Regier and Leopold are excellent. Nilsson and Niemanen were proven they were worth acquiring. Kipper with a 19-save shutout. The Flames regrouped. They refocused after those tough home losses. Can they do it? Can they do what almost nobody thought they could? Game 6, the Saddledome is shaking even before the national anthem is sung. The excitement is electric, but again, keep in mind the Flames have lost both home games so far. This has been a road series all the way. The Flames aren't losing focus, but the Sharks are playing disciplined as well, despite being under more pressure. The Flames' defensive strategies are still working. Kipper has his eye on every skater who is near him. The period is winding down. The Flames are on the power play. As Leo controls, Craig contains, and Iggy scores a Saddledome Raptors shake. It's 1-0 Flames, Iginla's 10th goal of these playoffs, and it's 1-0 going into first intermission. The Flames are doing everything they can to keep the momentum up in the second period. Kipper and the defense push against the Sharks, trying to make a comeback. And then 13 minutes into the frame, it's Martin. He scores, and to make it 2-0, the roof nearly blows out the building. The Sharks do get one back just over 3 minutes later, but the Flames still carrying a 2-1 lead into the third period. They are 20 minutes away from reaching the Stanley Cup. The Sharks press a little more, but the Flames stick to their game plan. They don't let up. 10 minutes ago, it's still 2-1. Fans are on the edge of their seats. The Sharks look for a way to get back in this thing. 5 minutes to go. The Saddledome's foundation is getting rocked. The announcer sounds off. 1 minute to play. 1 minute. The place is rocking. They're partying like it's 1989. 30 seconds. The Sharks put out their extra attacker. 10 seconds. Do you believe in miracles? 5, 4, 3, 2. What? Oh, wait! Regier launches it into the empty net to make it 3-1 with 1 second left. The decimal meter's about to shatter. The face-off, the puck is dropped. 0. The Calgary Flames are going to the Stanley Cup, winning the game 3-1, the series 4-2. Their only home win of the series was the biggest win of the series. The Red Mile is celebrating hard tonight. The Flames doing the improbable, the unthinkable, the unimaginable. They have beaten all 3 top seeds in their conference, all the division champions, their division rivals, the Canucks, the President Trophy winning Red Wings, and they unseated the Sharks, who just had their best season ever. Oh, Conroy played excellently in this game, as did Iggy. And who got the game winner? Martin Jelena. A unique NHL record, 3 straight series game winners, giving him the nickname of the Eliminator. The Red Fever has reached 104. While the 2 best forwards were the 2 best scorers, Craig Conroy had his best series yet. 3 goals, 3 assists for 6 points, and a tremendous +5. He was amazing on all sides of the ice and was key in the Flames' strategy to shut down Sharks forwards like Marlowe, who, by the way, was held at just 2 points and a -4. And Iggy, he was a machine once again, 4 goals and a helper, and that one helper was that beautiful setup to Steve Montador's overtime winner. He shut so many doubters up once again and proved he's one of the game's best captains. It was a 4-way tie for third in scoring with 4 points. Marcus Nilsson had a really good series with 2 goals and 2 helpers each. Sean Donovan, working harder than ever, had a goal and 3 helpers. As a result, so did Martin the Eliminator Jelena. 3 helpers and his only goal, the series winner. And Jordan Leopold also tied them with 4 apples. Bill Niemanen had an excellent series as well. Stefan Yell was key in containing the Sharks' top biters. Kabasu played as well. Easy for me to say, played his role well. Chris Simon provided some intimidation and muscle. Chris Clark, however, struggled quite a bit in this series, while Oliwell played well in the 3 games he stood up for it, and Dale Lowry was, In this series, the Flames' scoring average went up almost a full goal from the Wings series to a 2.7 goals a game. And hey, Jerome Ginla led the team with an amazing +6 in the series. Again, his overall on-ice presence is something his teammates always respond to. Further emphasis of just how great he was in this series. Jordan Leopold led all defensemen in scoring with 4 assists. And as I mentioned that earlier, he had a very good series, but Robin Reguera was playing on a whole other level throughout. He truly showed how underrated he is at what he does. However, Steve Montador, now he may be best known for the OT winner in Game 1, but he may have been the best defenseman in this series. He was a workhorse through and through every game. It has been a huge surprise so far in these playoffs. Brett Warner showed a big spark with his trademark go-getting attitude. Andrew Ference continues to shine, as did Mike Commodore, who's become a bit of a cult hero with his wild red hair, which inspired many Flames fans to wear red wigs, not wings, in tribute. Once again, this Flames core brought out the best in each other, and the series is the best they've collectively played so far. And hey, Mika Kiprasov was being told by the media he was exposed despite a performance in Game 3 and a terrible performance in Game 4. But can we forget how great he was in Game 1 in that overtime win? He was fantastic the rest of the way, too. While he didn't face as many shots as he did in the prior 2 series, he still recorded a shutout, had a huge 1.84 goals against average, and an excellent 925 save percentage. He is definitely the leading candidate on the Calgary Flames for the Conn Smythe Trophy as playoff MVP, and once again shows why. Roman Turek saw his first bit of action, 19.5 minutes, 1 period of play, didn't allow a goal on 3 shots. But Kipper, like his teammates, has defied the odds, and they've reached the final destination. And here we are. For the first time in 15 years, the Calgary Flames will compete for hockey's holy grail, the Stanley Cup. If you recall, the preseason odds saw the Flames calculated as the second least likely team to win it. They're not even supposed to win a playoff series. Hell, they weren't even supposed to make the playoffs. They were supposed to be deep in the basement in the NHL, according to many. The team's biggest star, Jerome Ginla, tons of individual awards, a World Championship gold medal, even an Olympic gold medal, had only 2 games of playoff experience before this postseason, which was before his official rookie year. He hadn't even won a playoff game, let alone a series. He has provided his leadership and knows what playoff hockey is all about, and he has shown it. Even the new superstar goalie, Mika Kiprasov, who was only acquired to be a backup, became a beloved superstar in Calgary, didn't have much playoff experience himself, but faced the pressure head-on and shined bright. Craig Conroy has playoff experience before this, but he's never been able to play for the big prize until now. Brett Warner and Dave Lowry, they've been to the dance, but not able to reach the grail. While Martin Jelena, Stefan Yell, Chris Simon, and Vil Niemanen have their names on that big silver barrel. Donovan had only 5 playoff games of experience until this season. Willula had 12. Ferentz was involved in one big playoff run, but nothing since. Meanwhile, Clark, Saprikin, Regier, Leopold, Kobasu, Nilsson, Montador, and Commodore hadn't played a single playoff game until this year. And now they're just 4 wins away from reaching the top of the mountain. Coach Daryl Sutter, boy, would he love to join his brothers Brent and Dwayne, who had their names in the Stanley Cup a few times. And indeed, it is time. And in their way, in the 2004 Stanley Cup Final, is the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Flames have taken out 3 of the best teams in the West. Now they face the best the Eastern Conference has to offer. The Bolts finished with a record of 46-22, 8-6 for 106 points, their best regular season ever. As a matter of fact, this was only their 3rd playoff appearance in their 12-year history, and their first Stanley Cup Final appearance ever. They had one of the best offenses in the league, scoring the 3rd most goals. And they had a solid defensive system. Their power play was pretty average, and they had a decent penalty kill. After being a laughingstock for the majority of their short history, John Tortorella, a no-nonsense coach, began to whip this team into shape, as general manager Jay Feaster made the deals to help Torts make a winner. To get here, they made pretty easy work of the Islanders in 5 games. They swept the upstart Habs in 4 straight, and got through a grueling 7-game series with a powerful Flyers squad to win the Eastern Conference Final. This Bolts team was pretty deep. Let's take a closer look. They were led by the great Martin St. Louis, who, if you recall, I mentioned in the part 1, started his NHL career as an undrafted walk-on at the Calgary Flames in 1998, but they let him go without much fuss. A fierce puck controller and efficient scorer, he had a season that was beyond epic. 38 goals, 56 assists for 94 points, which led the entire league for his first scoring title, earning him the Art Ross Trophy. He was also awarded the Hart Trophy as League MVP, the Pearson Trophy as NHLPA Choice, for MVP, of course, today known as the Ted Lindsay Award. A first-team All-Star, led the league with 9 shorthanded goals, also tied the league lead in plus-minus with his plus 35. He was a finalist for the Lady Byng Trophy, coming in 3rd, and barely missed out on being a finalist for the Selke Trophy, coming in 4th. He truly was Tampa's superstar forward, and was playing great in these playoffs to boot. Then you had Brad Richards, a highly skilled young playmaking center with great hands, skating ability, and vision. He had a breakout year with 26 goals, 53 assists for 79 points, and a good plus 14 in all 82 games. To boot, he's having an incredible playoff run, and he was the winner of the Lady Byng Trophy this season, and also got some votes for the Hart Trophy coming in 22nd. He was a steal at the 1998 draft, and his play keeps evolving. Well, speaking of the 1998 draft, first overall pick that year was the man affectionately known in Tampa as Vinny, Vincent Lecavalier. At first, he was thrust into a leadership role and other aspects that he just was not ready for. Tampa nearly fumbled this one, but he has matured as a tremendous hockey player. He notched 32 goals, 34 assists for 66 points. He was a driven forward with playmaking skills and always trying to find a way to better himself. He was a big man who can sometimes get physical and use his weight to his advantage. He was a tremendous plus 23 and was tied for 4th in the league with 25 even strength goals. Also, there's another former Calgary Flame on this team, Corey Stillman. He was huge in their power play all year. Frederick Modine provided a great deal of depth and got some votes for the Selke coming in 9th. Ruslan Fedotenko was substantial on the forward core and was having a really good playoff run himself. Tim Taylor was excellent in key situations. And there's another former Flame, Chris Dingman, providing toughness, and he does have a Stanley Cup ring. Plus, you also had Dmitry Afanasenkov, another tough man in Andre Roy, I should say. But last and most certainly not least, is team captain Dave Andreychuk, a 22-year veteran and a future Hall of Famer, who despite having 155 games of playoff experience, is making his first trip to the Stanley Cup Final. He's letting a great hand in these playoffs as well. He's respected amongst his teammates. He has reached at least 20 goals 20 times in his career. But now let's look at the defense. And Dan Boyle, an undrafted blue liner considered not big enough to be a defenseman in this era. It was the Panthers that actually first took a chance on him, but as a member of the Lightning is where he's truly excelled and broken out. Great at surveying the ice from his own end, and beginning a rush. He could also break up plays on the opposing side, had a good offensive input with 39 points this season, and was a plus 23. He also got a vote for the Norris Trophy. Joining him on the court is Pavel Kabina, who's a big man, had 35 points, also got a couple Norris Trophy votes. Brad Lukowich, who has persevered through many injury issues, towering tough man Corey Sarek, 10-year veteran Jason Cullimore, Nolan Pratt, and the other man on the Bolts with a Stanley Cup ring and 132 games of playoff experience, late season acquisition, former All-Star Daryl Sador. And their netminder, the man they call the Bulin Wall, Nikolai Khabibulin. A veteran of 10 seasons, he was for many years the saving grace of a mediocre average, sometimes below average, Winnipeg Jets / Phoenix Coyote club. He is now in his third season, however, as a member of the Tampa Bay Lightning. He had a good season, 28-19-7, and a solid 2.33 goals against average and a very good 910 save percentage and 3 shutouts. However, John Graham, their backup, some saw overall as better that year. But Torts said Bulin was his guy, and he has played every minute for the Lightning in these playoffs. He's collected 4 shutouts as well. His numbers rival that of Kiprasov. As a matter of fact, Bulin tied an NHL record with 3 shutouts in one playoff series. So, of course, this is going to be a tall obstacle for the Flames, but then again, what hasn't in these playoffs? Hey, they've gotten this far. So here we go. The 2004 Stanley Cup Finals. Game 1, May 25th, 2004, the St. Pete Times Forum in Tampa. Sellout crowd, indeed the first Stanley Cup game to be played in Tampa. The fans are excited, but the Flames look determined. The Tampa defense is trying to contain them, but 3-2, and Martin Jelena scores to open things up. Conroy and Ferentsen on the assists. The Flames strike first. The Flames are using the same strategy they used against the Sharks, containing the high-powered Bolts forwards, but Kipper does face a bit of pressure, but he is steadfast in net. The Flames carry this 1-0 lead all the way into the second period. Tampa's defensive scheme up front is also keeping Calgary from extending their lead in the early portion of the second period. But the Bolts go on a power play later in the frame, and wait, loose puck! Aguila going in on Bulin! He scores! His second shorthander of these playoffs. The Flames lead 2-0. And with 1:39 to play in the second, takes a loose puck and he scores a solo effort. It's 3-0 Flames after 2. This is huge. Early in the third, Tampa does succeed on a power play, and St. Louis gets a goal. But the Flames are still determined to get this win. Again, Marty takes a bad penalty. And under a minute to go, Chris Simon seals the deal. Goal assisted by Saprikin and Regier. Flames take this game emphatically 4-1. A huge cohesive effort once again. The top core of these playoffs, Jelena, Conroy, and Aginla all delivering. Ferentz also playing a beating, and Kiprasov great in net. Hey, the Flames are looking excellent early on. Game 2, we're still in Tampa, and the Bolts launch a big attack in the Calgary zone to start, but Kiprasov stays strong, as Tampa's core isn't really giving Calgary much momentum to work with, and the Bulin Wall is living up to his name when they get near him. And 7:31 into the game, the Lightning strike, and it remains 1-0 after 1 as they stick to their strategy. In the second period, it's much of the same. The Flames aren't able to capitalize on any openings, while the Bolts contain them. And they fire in on Kiprasov, but he doesn't allow them to extend their lead. It remains 1-0 after 2 periods. The third period, on the other hand, it's a disaster. 3 Tampa goals, 3:07 apart. That gives them a 4-0 lead barely 6 minutes into the frame. The Flames are getting frustrated. Ferentz and Stillman get into some fisticuffs, as do Simon and Digman not long after. But the Flames respond to this assertion of aggression as Neiman scores a power play marker set up by Donovan and Regier, bringing Bulin's shutout bid, making it 4-1, but that's how it ends. Jelena actually gets ejected with 12 seconds to go after a check from behind. That's a tough loss for Calgary, 4-1. Tampa shut down their top core and were able to limit Calgary's onslaught, giving them any chance other than the power play marker. Either way, the series is now tied 1-1, but Calgary still took one road game as they get ready to come home. Game 3, May 29, 2004, at the Pengrove Saddledome. The tide of the Sea of Red is higher than ever. Fans across the city and country, they're ready for this. First Stanley Cup game to be played in Calgary since May 23rd, 1989. Just 2 players in that Flames team are still active in the NHL at this point. That's Joe Nieuwendyk and Gary Roberts, both playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs. The anticipation of the opening puck drop is unlike anything that's been seen in this arena before. but tempers are still flaring for the last game, and Jerome McGinley gets into it with Vinny LeCavalier. The two drop the gloves and they go at it as the dome goes crazy for their hero. After that, however, the dust does settle a bit, but the Flames seem to have a lot more confidence after that. Goalies are making good saves, but it's the respective defenses that are actually playing really well, and hey, big shock, it's scoreless after 1. Second period, it's much of the same, both teams sticking to what's been working for them. Conroy is all over a frustrated Vinny, and the Bolts' Lukowicz gets called for slashing, and the Flames go on a power play. Leopold steers the situation, but gets it to Iggy, who sees Chris Simon. The dome explodes into jubilation. The Flames strike first, it's 1-0. Down 2:51. Sean Donovan sees his chance and makes magic happen with a great solo effort. Calgary leads 2-0 after 2. Kipper is sharp in net, and anytime Tampa gets near him, he's saying, The Flames are clinging to their 2-0 lead. As the period winds down with 1:32 left. Power play. Simon back to Regier, and it's Iggy. 3-0 Flames as the Saddle Dome is on fire. Indeed, the Flames with the 3-0 win. A huge game from Simon and Iginla. Kipper saw with his 5th shutout of these playoffs, 21 saves. Above all, the Flames take a 2-1 series lead, and a great game for their defensive forwards and grinders, such as Yell and, of course, Conroy, containing LeCavalier to just one shot, and St. Louis also couldn't get much going in this one. The Flames are looking like an inferno. Game 4 in Electric Saddledome is ready to see their boys take control, but a pair of penalties early on puts the Flames at a bad disadvantage, and Richards scored just 2:48 in to give the Bolts a 1-0 lead. The Flames then change things up a bit. They go all in on the Bulin wall, but he's stopping everything that's thrown at him, and he's looking as fierce as ever in net. The other way, Kipper is again stopping Tampa from extending their lead, while the Calgary defense is making very solid plays as well. But Tampa manages to carry the 1-zip lead into the first intermission. In the second period, the Flames are still hustling, but Happy Bulin is crazy good in goal. The Bolts defense is also breaking up some prominent rushes, as the Flames are making sure Tampa can't build on their lead once again, but it's still 1-0 after 2. Third period, the fans in the Saddle Dome are rallying hard behind their team, but Calgary gets some good chances, but nothing is happening. Time is winding down, more big chances, but Tampa hangs on. The Flames drop a 1-0 loss. They run into a red-hot goaltender and aren't able to get past him. Bottom line, now the series is tied 2-2. But the Flames and even the media this time aren't panicking, as again, Calgary has been awesome on the road in these playoffs and are more than capable of delivering a win. Game 5, however, the fans in Tampa are rabid, and the Flames look to regroup as defenseman Tony Lidman, after missing 20 games, is back. A high-sticking penalty on Frederick Modine gives the Flames a power play early in the game, and Montador over to Lidman to set up Jelena. He scores his 8th goal of these playoffs, and the Flames lead 1-0, just 2:13 into the game. Calgary is doing brilliantly keeping the Lightning at bay, and they are clinging to their 1-goal lead, but as time winds down the period, the Bolts tied. It's 1-1 after 1. Second period, the Flames are running into the Bulin wall once again and having no success. Kipper is making some big saves as well, and the game is deadlocked past the halfway point of the entire game. And the puck comes loose, and Iggy has it, and bye-bye, Bulin. He scores a tremendous solo effort, goal lucky number 13 of these playoffs. The Flames lead 2-1 and carry that lead into the third period, but just 37 seconds into the frame, Tampa ties it. Third period is intense. Both teams are remaining focused and not getting careless, but neither can score, and the time is winding down. And for the first time in these Cup Finals, we are headed to overtime. It's a very tense atmosphere throughout the extra frame, but both teams are staying disciplined and focused. During the shift as the frame went on, Gillen lost his helmet, but it didn't stop him from fighting for possession of the puck every which way. Even as Tampa regained possession after he tried to set up a goal, he refused to retrieve his helmet or go off the ice, and helped get the puck back into the opposing zone. Nielsen caught possession, Iginla shoots, stopped, rebound, Saprinkin scores! Saprinkin is the hero! Iginla's legendary shot on this goal definitely was something that Flames fans to this day have not forgotten. He didn't lose his determination and only had winning on his mind, and overall he played a beauty. The Flames defense deserves a lot of credit as well, especially Andrew Ferentz. Kiprusoff was great when he needed to be, but the big story, of course, is now the Flames lead the series 3-2. Their 10th road win of these playoffs. They are just one win away from pulling off one of the most improbable championship wins in NHL history. And they have a chance to do it back home. Here we go. Game 6. The Red Mile walking towards the Saddledome is full of deep anticipation, pure excitement, and enthusiasm. The city is watching intently. From bars, home watch parties, and the radio is running for the fans burning the midnight oil at work. There's a massive TV audience on CBC watching throughout Canada. The building is an atmosphere of eagerness and loudness. They can't wait for this game to even start. And off we go. The game is underway. Neither team is getting many big chances on goal, as it's a very defensive game to start despite both teams attacking in the opposing zones. And they're still showing an eagerness to win. Tampa trying to save their season. Calgary trying to get an early jump on things. But it stays scoreless after one, and the anxiousness at the Dome grows. Early in the second period, however, the Lightning strike first on a power play. But nearly 5 minutes later, Neiman into Yell to Chris Clark. The Dome jumps for joy in unison. We have a tie game, but 1:47 later, the Bolts retake the lead. As the second period winds down, Marcus Nelson scores the tie as the Saddledome has reawakened again. It's a 2-2 tie after 2 periods. You can cut the anticipation with a knife. Each team is trying to muster up momentum in the third period. Then a crazy moment happened with just under 7 minutes to play. The Flames are on a power play. Martin Jelena rushes to the net as the puck is shot that way. And if you take a close look at this picture, right here on this video, on Javi Boulin's right pad, the puck looks in. The Eliminator strikes yet again? But the play was never reviewed. Now, I tried to find stills of the aerial view, the overhead view I should say, but I couldn't find any online. But later on, they would show that the puck may not have completely crossed the line. Indeed, the puck is in the air here, and some feel this shot of this picture is deceiving because of that. I say both sides have valid arguments. I'll definitely say another argument is that it might have been disallowed anyway, with the argument of the motion of Jelena's skate being a kick. While it definitely doesn't seem like a blatant kick in, but again, it very well could have been overturned. But regardless, the game continued, and the time winds down as the eagerness grows. But regulation ends, and for the second straight game, we're off to overtime. The Calgary Flames are just one goal away from pure glory. The first overtime shows both teams trying to find many different ways to win, but it does not happen. Despite the chances, either the goalies are there, or the team just squanders it, or the opposing defense reads the play. The first overtime ends, we have no winner. And just 33 seconds of the second overtime, Martin St. Louis breaks the hearts of Calgary fans and wins it for the Lightning, tying the series in 3 games. The Red Mile is a dreary walk tonight. And as news spreads more about the controversial non-goal from Jelena, Flames fans are outraged. The media overall seems split on this. The NHL reviewed it and said it lacks conclusiveness. Also, there was a CGI company out of Calgary that reviewed this with a deep analysis, and they determined it didn't fully cross the line. But regardless, Calgary can't dwell here. There's still one more game to play and another chance to win it. With their 10-3 road record in these playoffs, it does look promising as we head into the 7th deciding winner-take-all game. Indeed, it has come down to this. Game 7 in Tampa, June 7th, 2004. Can the Flames complete the miracle? The Sea of Red is in fact present at the Saddledome, watching on the screens, eager for an epic town celebration. The game is underway. Both teams are trying for an attack, but can't get to the goalies too often. Then Tampa goes on a power play, and they score 13.5 minutes in and carry a 1-0 lead into intermission. In the second period, the Flames are hustling a little more, and the game remains tight. But again, neither team is getting all that many chances on the opposing goaltenders. But just past 14.5 minutes into the second period, Fedotenko scores the second goal of the game for the Lightning. The Flames are now down 2-0. Stays that way after 2. This is bad. In the third period, the Bolts are hell-bent on keeping the Flames out of their zone, and they're actually doing a great job of it. Our heroes seem to be running on fumes. However, after Nolan Pratt takes a penalty, Flames go on the power play. Leopold sets up Conroy! A huge goal! 10:39 remaining. The Flames only trail 2-1. This seems to motivate them a bit more as they press for an equalizer. But time is starting to not be on their side. Slowly but surely, and with 1:01 to go, Andrew Ferentz takes a dumb penalty. So now the Flames are down a man. Oh boy. Well, last minute is ticking away. It looks bleaker than bleak. But with 23 seconds to go, Dave Anderchuk is called for tripping. So now we're at 4-on-4. The Flames have another chance to save their season. Puck is dropped, but Tampa keeps it in the Calgary zone, and Kiprasov has to stay in net. 10 seconds to go. The extra attacker comes out. Kipper gets to the bench, but with 2 seconds left, Habibulin makes a key poke check. The game is over. The Flames lose. Tampa Bay Lightning win their first Stanley Cup. The dream season ends in heartbreak as the clock has struck midnight for this Cinderella story. Settled home for the first time in a long time as pin drops silent, as all they can do is watch as they filed out of the building, seeing former Flames Dingman, Stillman, and superstar St. Louis hoist Lord Stanley. The Flames players, however, are gracious in defeat, but the Red Mile is flooded with tears of disappointment. They were 1 goal away in Game 6, only to lose it all. Some felt Iginla disappeared in Game 6 and 7. And felt Kipper should have held stronger, despite only allowing 2 goals, but it was on 15 shots. Also, the non-goal from Jelena still haunts 20 years later. Despite the criticism of Iginla in the final 2 games, he was again a force out there more often than not, and led the Flames in scoring in this series. 3 goals, 2 assists for 5 points, and was a +3. His overall presence still got them this far, and so did his steering the ship as their captain. It was a 3-way tie for second in scoring. Chris Simon was sharp, 2 goals and a helper. Saprika in the OT hero of Game 5 had a goal and 2 assists, while defenseman Robin Regehr had 3 assists. Conroy didn't contribute too much offensively, but was still big in defensive roles and checking situations, and overall had a really good series. Shalna was pretty good, and was close to being the eliminator once again. Donovan battled injuries, struggled in some games, played well in others. Stefan Yeo was solid again in his role. Nilsson and Niemanen did okay, while Chris Clark was a solid hand as well. Although Ankabasu did fine, as did Dave Lowry. The Flames averaged 2 goals a game in the finals, which weirdly enough was actually more than Tampa, just slightly, who had 1.9. Despite his penalty gaffe in Game 7, Andrew Ferentz really progressed nicely during the playoffs and had an excellent series, more than he didn't, and he led the team with a +4. Robin Regehr also played very well, leading the team in defensive scoring with 3 assists. Jordan Leopold did struggle in a couple games, but excelled in others. Brett Warner was also very good in this series. Steve Montador continued to be a big surprise, and Mike Commodore was doing okay, but Tony Libman returned in the final 3 games of the finals and looked pretty good. The Flames' defense, all in all, was excellent again in this series. And again, despite the fact that the Flames didn't win, this group that didn't get much recognition definitely stood out. Mika Kiprasov really did all he could, despite many feeling that some of the goals he let in were pretty soft. And other than Game 2, he didn't really have a terrible game. He's still one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, why the Flames got as far as they did. He had a 3-4 record in these finals, playing every minute of every game. He had a shutout, was an excellent 9.24 save percentage, and an incredible 1.72 goals against average. Things obviously didn't go Kipper's way in the end, but he has a lot to be proud of. Obviously, it's a different feeling for the players losing when you're 1 goal away and ultimately dropping the final 2 games. But this team that barely anybody expected anything from made it to the 7th game of the Stanley Cup Finals and lost by a single goal to an excellent team. Despite the still disputed Jelena non-goal, for the most part it seems Flames fans remember this run with fondness and joy. 1 superstar, a couple excellent role players, several character players with a breakout goaltender who seemingly came out of nowhere, may not have pulled the miracle they wanted to, but they still shut up a lot of naysayers. And they did pull off a remarkable story. Head coach general manager Daryl Sutter has a lot to be proud of. He was able to finally find a way to make this team into a contender after they were barely even a winner, instilling a never-say-die attitude with this Flames team. And now, let's take a look at the final numbers. Well, hey, Jerome Iginla, again, to no surprise, led the Flames in scoring in these playoffs. 13 goals, 9 assists for 22 points. He's finally given a chance to do it in the playoffs, what he has done in the regular season for quite some time now. Score big momentum-shifting goals and making huge plays. using his heart and determination. Very few doubted Iginla as team captain after these playoffs. I'd have to say his opening round performance and conference final showing were the biggest standouts of this run. Coming in second in scoring on the team was Craig Conroy, 6 goals, 11 assists for 17 points, and definitely the best two-way player once again, covering star forwards like Marleau, Yzerman, and LeCavier. They were key in helping giving his team an edge in many wins. Third in scoring was Martin Janananananana, the Eliminator. 8 goals, 7 assists, 15 points, 2 overtime series clinching game winners in the first 2 rounds, a regulation game winner clinching the series in the third round, giving him a unique NHL record with 3 series game winners in the same playoff. He's actually the only player in NHL history with 3 overtime series game winners in his career. He had another one with Carolina in 2002 against Toronto. Oleg Saprikin showed great work ethic throughout these playoffs. Phil Niemann and Marcus Nilsson showed Sutter knew what he was doing acquiring these two, giving them further playoff hockey depth. And Sean Donovan was hustling every which way, and while some games didn't go his way, he had the spirit of a tried-and-true competitor, as he has. Rookie Matt Lombardi was looking solid, but his playoffs ended due to an injury in the second round. Fan favorite Chris Clark was a driving force of the grind. Chris Simon, despite missing several games, did what he always does and did it very well, and scored some very key goals. Stefan Yell's postseason experience definitely came in handy, while Christophe Oliwa would pop up with a big game unexpectedly. The Flames' forward core defied everyone's expectations this postseason. All 3 of the Flames' top scorers made it into the top 10 among playoff scoring. Iginla's 22 points was third best in the postseason, just behind St. Louis of Tampa with 24, and playoff MVP Brad Richards, who led the whole playoffs with 26. Conroy's 17 was good enough for 5th in the postseason, while Jean was 8th best with 15 points. Iginla's lucky 13 goals was the best overall in the playoffs, and he made each and every one of them look superb. And of course, they came always at the exact right time, it seemed. Also, Iginla led the Flames in these playoffs with a huge plus 13. His overall presence, again, further emphasized just how valuable he is to his club. He was doing everything he could on any given shift, and his defensive play in these playoffs often gets overlooked. Speaking of defense, leading the way in defensive points was Jordan Leopold with 10. All assists. He tied the playoff defensive scoring lead with Dan Boyle of Tampa Bay. Leopold, however, showed he had what it took to be a postseason warrior and continued his breakout regular season with a tremendous playoff run, being a force in many wins. And while he and Robin Regehr were the best 2 defensemen for the Flames in the regular season, the same can be said right here in these playoffs. Regehr was truly a spark on the blue line once again. Lighting a fire under his team was a big difference maker, more and more as the postseason progressed. He truly proved what an asset he is. Rhett Warrener was brought to Calgary for his hard and passionate play, and he delivered tenfold here in these playoffs with the desire to win. Andrew Ference really picked up steam as the playoffs kept progressing and really grew in these games. Steve Montemar proved to be the breakout postseason star and was looked at as one of the hardest workers on the whole team, and not to mention he got to be an overtime hero. Mike Commodore became a cult fan favorite with his hard-nosed play and wacky red hair. Tony Lidman, despite only playing 6 games, was solid as usual, as was Denis Gauthier. But it showed that despite injuries, this blue line core did what they did all year round, and that's make sure they bring out the best in each other. Iginla was second in playoff plus-minus with a superb plus 13, only behind Flyers defenseman Danny Markov, who had plus 17. Conroy was third with his plus 12. Jean was tied for 5th with a plus 10. Either way, it showed in addition to their scoring prowess and threat, their overall impact is what helped the Flames make such a big run. And Mika Kiprasov, the man called Kipper. No doubt would have been the Conn Smythe Trophy winner as playoff MVP had the Flames won, at least in my opinion. He was sensational, especially in the first 2 rounds, and played many great games in the conference final and Stanley Cup to boot. He stood on his head some nights, held in those tight leads, and he did have the odd tough night, obviously, but he delivered his superb skills in an epic fashion more often than not. He played in every single playoff game, all but 19.5 minutes where Turek filled in. A 15-11 record, an incredible 1.85 goals against average, and a marvelous 9.28 save percentage, and 5 shutouts. There's a reason why Flames fans to this day love Kipper. He was second in wins to Habibullah in these playoffs, who got the magic 16. 7th in goals against average, 6th in save percentage. Mind you, goalies who only play even a game or 2 are included in these playoff lists. But his epic 5 shutouts, count them up, tied Habibullah for the playoff lead. It showed he knew how to come up in the clutch in several outings as he had done all season. But 2004 still had more plans for the Calgary Flames, as beginning in late August into September, the World Cup of Hockey would be taking place for the first time in 8 years. The Flames were very well represented here, as Jerome McGinley was named to Team Canada and named alternate captain. Robin Regeer made the team as well. Finland had the most Flames representation, Ville Nieminen, defenseman Tony Libben, and Kemper himself. Marcus Nilsson was on Team Sweden. The final came down to 2 undefeated teams, Canada and Finland. Canada got a thrilling 3-2 win in the final. For Iginla, it was his 3rd professional international championship as he played very well. For Regeer, it was his 1st. However, the Finns had an amazing showing. Lindman played very well in the tournament, and Kemper once again put up insane numbers. This Calgary Flames team indeed has one singular Hall of Famer, and it's Jerome Iginla. He was inducted in his first year of eligibility in 2020. He ended up playing 20 NHL seasons overall, 15 with Calgary, had brief stints in Pittsburgh and Boston trying to obtain a Stanley Cup ring but wasn't able to reach the top. He spent a few seasons in Colorado with a rebuilding Avalanche club, mentoring youngsters like future superstar Nathan MacKinnon, and ended his career with a short 19-game tenure with the Los Angeles Kings. He scored 1,300 career points in 1,554 career games, including 625 career goals. His number 12 has been retired by the Calgary Flames in addition, and he is the team's all-time leader in goals and points. Despite never winning the Stanley Cup, he retired with 2 Olympic gold medals, a World Cup of Hockey title, and a World Championship gold. Many have made an argument, however, for Mika Kiprusoff going into the Hall of Fame, who went on to have an excellent career. He did garner 319 wins, and at the 300 mark is what goalies strive for, say like forwards do for 500 goals or 1,000 points. He only lost 213 games, and his winning percentage is in the neighborhood of many Hall of Famers. He reached 30-plus wins 8 times, including a 42-win season where he won the Vezina Trophy, the Jennings, and was a first-team All-Star in 2005 and 06. But some feel that being his only year winning individual awards might be one of the things that's holding them back. That, and he never did have a deep playoff run again since the 2004 season. As a matter of fact, he never even made it past the first round again. And the Hall does look at international accolades, and Kipper did win a bronze medal at the 2010 Olympics, but that likely won't be enough to sway voters. He'll likely be stuck in the Hall of Really Good, but the Calgary Flames did retire his number as well. There's no doubt Daryl Sutter will be inducted into the Hall of Fame as a coach, as he's gone on to become the 10th all-time winningest coach in NHL history, and went on to turn around the LA Kings into a winner, garnering 2 Stanley Cups. He returned to Calgary in 2020 and actually took home his first Jack Adams Trophy as Coach of the Year in 2022, but the following year the Flames crumbled and it was a bit of a controversial departure. He hasn't coached in the NHL since. However, when his day comes, he'll be the first of his famous hockey family to make the Hall. Well, as of 2024, the Calgary Flames have not been back to the Cup final. As a matter of fact, after their 2004 run, they didn't even win another playoff series till 2015. And since then, have only won 2 more. But either way, the story of this 2004 club still lives in the hearts of Flames fans everywhere. And indeed, that wraps up our look at the miracle club known as the 2003-04 Calgary Flames. What other teams would you like to see us cover? Leave a suggestion in the comments, like and share the video, please subscribe to the channel, and until next time, I'll see ya!